Let's take it from the very beginning. Let's start from the beginning.
Every story starts before you know you're writing one. Your beginnings don't necessarily determine your destination. So for you, how was that?
Hmm. Let's take it from the very beginning. Let's start from the beginning. Every story starts before you know you're writing one. That's a very interesting way to start the beginning because it is true. You know? After all, when you're born, you don't choose where you're born into, isn't it? You basically just find yourself in a family with a set of people that you didn't choose, a set of people that you can't change. And then whatever their values are, they basically impart on you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, I was pretty lucky, I would say, as a young person to have the kind of parents that I had. I had a very, very loving father. He was very loving. My mom, I would say, was obsessed with her kids, you know? So that's where the beginning story ends, the fun part of the beginning story. That's where it ends. The fact that I just know that I had parents that loved me. Did that mean that I had a very good beginning? Yeah, that's a story for another day. For the purpose of this podcast, I'll just pull out some lessons because the whole essence of me coming on camera is to share. But it's not, I don't want it to become a vulnerability series, and I'm not even trying to come here to tell you any sub stories. So let's make it real and let's make it practical. I think, like I said, I had very loving parents, so that was a positive. But I had a very strange family environment, which I think definitely influenced me as a person, and definitely influenced my values. So very hardworking father, extremely ambitious father, extremely successful father. I did not grow up with lack. So when people talk about the fact that they grew up without shoes or without food, I didn't have, those kind of experiences. But I had something very strange that other people too would find, a bit of a problem, which was being, I was groomed in a broken home. So that meant my father and my mom were not together, and that meant I had to live with a step parent that just turned out. I always say very concertedly, but they might cut this out of the podcast, but if they don't, she was like a witch. But it's okay. I won't speak too much about her. But let me just tell you, the mere fact of just growing up in an environment that was, what would I call it now? Full of pretentious people, full of people that were greedy because everyone wanted the money this man had. Just set up basically became my beginning. And when I say my beginning, after all, we're all a victim of our circumstances, right? We're all victims of the kind of experiences that we had as youngsters, where we find ourselves. But it did so many positive things for me that I think this podcast should not take away from. Which meant because I had a very ambitious father, I grew up knowing that I could be whoever I wanted to become. Okay? So, there was no way I was going to be satisfied with a mediocre life. Let me put it that way. I was never going to be satisfied with a mediocre life. So I loved success and I loved ambition and I loved the good things of life. I wanted to become my own person. I loved independence, and all of that sort of helped me through my growing up years to be very decisive in the actions that I was taking. So at every point in time, I knew the option of failure was just not for me. Be it school, be it work, be it whatever else you can think of, that you had the two poles. I would always go for what I thought was successful. And that is how I started my life. So what other part